Now,
Thank
you.
So we're going to come in my external nares, which you can call a nostril. Vestibule is where the boogers live, right inside. The septum has been removed because that's where they would have cut this way. Then I'm going to go through my Nasal Conchae, which are these bumps, so superior, middle, inferior. Each one makes a meatus, which is the hole or groove space under it. I'm going to come to my internal nares, which is the nostril on this side, the bend here. Pass my opening to the internal auditory canal, or the eustachian tube, or the pharyngeal and tympanic tube. They're all fine. This is my pharyngeal tonsil, also called an adenoid. And all that stuff would be in my nasopharynx, between here and here. I'm going to turn and go down, past my soft palate and uvula. Now I've entered my Oropharynx, which is the back of my mouth. There's a palatine tonsil on each side of my throat. Here's one of them. And then here's my lingual tonsil that's on my tongue. So I go down. That's part of the fauces, by the way. The fauces is the opening to my mouth. I go past my epiglottis, which is here. Now my laryngopharynx. So my esophagus would be the back, which I don't want to go. I'm going to go the front, through my larynx, down my trachea. So that would be my laryngopharynx. So my trachea...
And then hold it while you're there, about the folds, vocal folds, down below.
Oh, these ones? Yeah, I can do those here. So the top one is always your false, also called vestibular fold. The bottom one is true, also called your vocal cord. So you can do false and true. You can do vestibular fold, vocal fold, something like that would be good. But the top one's always the not vocal one, the false one. So now I'm going to go down again. This is going to be my larynx, which is the same as there. So if I'm looking at my larynx, I have my hyoid bone here. I have my cartilages in blue. I have my epiglottis sticking up the top. So I'm going to name the blues. So thyroid cartilage is the big shield around your thyroid gland, which is this. Cricoid is the littler one underneath. And tracheal cartilages are on the trachea. So then each part has a membrane or ligament. So my Thyrohyoid membrane is this sheet here. My cricothyroid ligament is this little thing here. And then my cricotracheal ligament is that sheet there. So you name them between the blues, basically.
Is it only that sheet, or is it the ones below as well?
It'd be the cricothyroid would just be this one. These would be what they call intertracheal.
Okay.
Right. And then the laryngeal prominence you'd call an Adam's apple, but that's not worth nearly as much money. Is right there, the front.
Right.
So then if I turn this one around, it doesn't show it very well, but this one does. So on the back, you're going to have, this is all your cricoid, this blue here, but then the arytenoid is the curved hooked one that comes up here. It's buried in this red here, that's where it'd be. On this model, it's buried in here. But then the corniculate is the very tip of that. So here and here, these two blues. This one shows the corniculate sticking out. This one shows what the corniculate should be. And then the cuneiform is never shown very well, but it's this bump up here, or here, or here, or there. So you have an arytenoid, first bump corniculate, second bump cuneiform as you go forward. But this one shows the arytenoid. So I'm going to go down my trachea. So I'm going down my trachea, then I have my carina, which is the split. Then I'm going to have my primary bronchi, which are the first group, also called your mains. Then I have those split again, so those are going to be my secondaries, also called lobar, because they go to the lobes. So notice there's 3 here and 2 there. And then those break down into what they call tertiary or segmentals, which go to each section of each lobe. And then from that, you have bronchioles and alveoli that you can't see. So if I go back to my lungs, so on my right lung, I'm going to have 3 lobes, superior, middle, and inferior, separated by 2 fissures, horizontal and oblique. And then on my left lung, I'm going to have only 2 lobes, superior and inferior, separated by its horizontal fissure, because the cardiac notch is right here, so that took up a lobe, basically. Then I have the hilum, which is the indentation here and here, the entrance, the notch, whatever you want to call it. And then the root is all this material that's in the hilum. So these are the roots of the lung. And then on my lungs, I have some more terminology. I have the costal surface, which you would say is the outside surface, the one that touches your ribs. And then on that would be the visceral pleura, and then the parietal pleura would be on your thoracic cavity. Diaphragms at the bottom, apex at the top, base at the bottom, and I think that's it.
Is the pleural, the visceral, which is the outside again? Pleural.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
is that kind of attached to the intercostals or the ribs?
So the visceral pleura would be actually attached to the lung, and the parietal pleura would be, basically on the ribs.
Okay.
It'd be just between the rib and the muscle.
Okay.
Can you do that guy right there?
Oh yeah, this one. So that should be the same as that, so just different models. So we have, this is the thyroid gland. I'm just going to take him off because I don't care at this point. So we're going to have, again, my larynx is all this with trachea here.
Touch it like this and it'll focus.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. Okay.
So larynx, trachea from the back. I can see the epiglottis sticking up. I can see my tubing, so I'm going to start on the blue stuff. Thyroid cartilage with the laryngeal prominence. Cricoid cartilage in this model is here. The second one, tracheal cartilage are these. I'm going to name my flat stuff. So this is the thyrohyoid membrane, cricothyroid ligament, cricotracheal ligament there. Laryngeal prominence we have. It doesn't show the arytenoid very well. It'll be buried in there. In fact, I don't even know if this actually shows it at all. Let's see. It outlines it, so you can see the outline of the arytenoid, which is this curve here. But it doesn't actually show the blue. The craniculate would be that first bump. The cuneiform would be the second bump. I have my true vocal cord on the bottom, or true or vocal cord. My false or vestibular is number 22 above that. The glottis would be basically the air hole, the space, because my epiglottis covers my glottis. And then that would then be my trachea going down with the tracheal cartilages. And I think that's all on this one.
Okay.
How are you going to question this